On the 6th anniversary of my relationship with my childhood sweetheart, I received a very special gift, the marriage certificate that he and a younger female student had just gotten. When I confronted him, he gave me a helpless smile and said, "Lily likes playing super realistic house. I only got the certificate with her because I was playing along with her game. But if you really mind, you can go get a certificate with someone else for fun." Thinking of the man who had confessed to me not long ago, I stopped arguing and calmly asked, "Then do you mind if I become your aunt?" Just as I said that, his junior, Lily Chin, happened to call. His attention was instantly pulled toward her, and a faint smile appeared on his face, one he didn't even notice himself. The moment he answered the call, he caught my gaze and brushed me off. "Do whatever you want. As long as you don't make trouble for Lily, you can get a certificate with anyone just to play around." With his confirmation, I smiled faintly, took out my phone and sent that man a message. "Let's get married." Ethan Song seemed perfectly fine with me becoming his aunt-in-law, and he genuinely believed that in the future we would become a harmonious and loving family. "Oh right," he added, "tell your mom I won't be going to the family dinner today. Even though Lily and I getting the certificate was just playing house, the game isn't over yet. I still have to keep cooperating with her. Tonight I'm going with her to meet her parents." In the past, whenever I heard that, I always got angry and wouldn't let him go see her. He would look impatient and say, "I'm just playing a house game with her. Do you really need to make such a fuss? Can't you learn from other girlfriends and be more generous instead of always being so petty?" I tried to control him because I cared about him and had decided that he was the person who would spend the rest of my life with me. But now he was already someone else's husband, and I was about to become someone else's wife. I no longer had any right to control him. Thinking that, I paused and gave a small smile. "If you see Lily Chin's uncle, remember to say hi for me." Ethan froze for a second while putting on his shoes and looked at me with confusion. He parted his lips slightly as if he wanted to ask something, but before he could speak, Lily called again, urging him. "All right, princess, don't rush me. I'm heading out now." As his voice faded, the door slowly closed in front of me. Just then, the man replied to my message. "Okay. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau at 8 tomorrow morning." I didn't reply. I quietly set an alarm. Ethan Song and I had known each other since we came out of our mother's wombs. Our moms were best friends. To maintain their hard-won friendship, our two families chose one day each month for a family dinner. They required that no one could be absent. In the past, Ethan and I always arrived early and waited at the hotel. This time, when his mom saw that I was the only one standing at the hotel entrance, her expression shifted repeatedly before she asked in confusion, "Where's Ethan? Didn't I remind him that no matter what happens today, he has to come? Where is he?" "He went to take care of something more important. He's not coming today," I said honestly, no longer covering for him like before. In the past, when he got into fights after school and didn't come home until dark, I was the one who covered for him, telling Aunt Song that the school had them moving temporary racks so he'd be late. Whenever he caused trouble outside and was afraid he'd get beaten, he would come to me acting pitiful, leaning on my shoulder and whining softly. "If my mom beats me and ruins my health, how am I supposed to take care of you in the future? You don't want your future husband to be a cripple, right?" He said those shameless things so naturally that my face would burn red, yet I still covered for him every single time. "This is ridiculous. What could be more important than family dinner?" Aunt Song snapped. "Call him. Tell him that if he doesn't show up today, he can forget about having me as his mother." I tried calling him several times. All I got in response were unable to answer notifications. Aunt Song was furious, so angry she could barely eat, and after only a few bites she said she was full. When the family dinner finally ended and I returned home, Lily Chin suddenly sent me an audio message for no apparent reason. It was a recording of her chat with Ethan. "Ethan," she said sweetly, "did you tell Emily about us getting married? Didn't she make a fuss? I told her she could go get a certificate with someone else too. What would she make a fuss about?" His voice carried a teasing, relaxed tone that stabbed straight into my chest. "You're really not afraid she'll actually marry someone else? Lily asked. Ethan laughed comfortably. Do you know what her birthday wish has been ever since she was a kid? To marry me. She's wished for that every single year. With a wish like that, how could she possibly marry anyone else? Don't move, let me touch you. We've already gotten the marriage certificate, but I haven't even exercised my rights as your husband yet. The moment I heard that, the emotions I had been holding back all evening collapsed like a landslide. I had always thought that wanting to marry him was my own little secret. Every birthday I would look at him and silently wish in my heart, may I finally marry Ethan Song this year. Sometimes I even wrote those wishes in my diary, imagining that when we finally got married one day, I would show him all those pages filled with girlish devotion. But I waited year after year, from innocent teenage affection all the way to 26 years old. He never once mentioned marriage. He didn't even tell his family that we were dating. When I got mad and asked him why, he always said, even loving married couples fight sometimes. Let alone us, we're only dating. If we ever got into a fight, it would affect the relationship between our families. Let's talk about it later. And now I finally realized that he had known all along about the wishes I had secretly made every year. He had never cared, not once. Instead, he used them as a joke to make fun of me. I let out a bitter smile, opened my bedside drawer, and pulled out my diary. Without the slightest hesitation, I tore every written page into shreds and threw them, along with my love for him, straight into the trash can. The next morning, I arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau as promised, but the man hadn't come yet. I waited outside absent-mindedly, only to unexpectedly see Ethan Song and Lily Chin walking toward the entrance carrying boxes of wedding candy. The moment they saw me, both of them froze for 2 seconds. Ethan was the first to react, raising an eyebrow with a playful expression as he asked, "What are you doing here? Don't tell me you came to check whether our marriage certificate is real or fake." Before I could say anything, Lily's face broke into a bright smile. "Emily, Ethan and I were just playing, you know? Once we finish this game, we'll get divorced. I'm not going to steal Ethan from you. You don't have to be so hostile toward me." Right after she said that, I clearly caught the flash of displeasure on Ethan's face. He intertwined his fingers with hers, his gaze following her every movement with a complicated intensity. The sight reminded me of the super-realistic house game they played last month. In the script Lily wrote, Ethan was a useless husband who only knew how to drink, and she played a housewife worn down by life. She demanded that everything in the script be reenacted exactly as written. But Ethan was allergic to alcohol. Once he accidentally drank a single shot of liquor and almost ended up in the ICU. I tried my best to stop him, but Lily became unhappy and puffed up angrily. "If you won't do it," she snapped, "then I'll find someone else to play my husband." Ethan's expression instantly changed. He shoved me aside and walked straight toward her. "Don't be like that, princess. I'll act the part, okay?" he said. In order to coax Lily, he ended up drinking 3 cups of liquor in a row. That very night, he went into an allergic shock and had to be rushed to the hospital. Because he and I had argued about this before, he brushed it off with complete indifference. It's rare for adults to still have childish innocence. What's wrong with me supporting her a little? But what he didn't know was that after that day, everyone in our circle started spreading the story of his heroic feat. How he challenged alcohol for love and nearly landed himself in the ICU. I originally didn't want to pay attention to them, but then I remembered that soon enough I would become their aunt. My expression softened. As the elder, I should be more magnanimous. "All right, you two continue playing. I'm just waiting for someone here. You don't need to mind me." "Emily, are you mad?" Lily asked, withdrawing the smile on her face and speaking carefully. "Yesterday when we registered our marriage, we promised the staff we'd come today to drop off wedding candy. Otherwise we wouldn't have come again. Please don't misunderstand. Here, have some good luck." Her face lit up with happiness as she cheerfully handed me a beautifully packaged box of wedding candy. When I didn't take it, a flicker of impatience crossed Ethan's face. "She's giving it to you, just take it. Why are you acting like this? Take it and head home. Standing here alone looks ridiculous." I stared at him, confused. "I just said I'm waiting for someone here. Are your ears broken?" I took the gift box, forced myself to stay patient, and repeated, "I'm waiting for someone. You don't need to worry about me." "Who could you possibly be waiting for here?" Ethan scoffed. "Don't tell me you're like those people online, waiting around to snag some newly divorced second marriage guy. Don't be ridiculous." Contempt flashed across his eyes as he released Lily's hand and walked toward me. His expression softened a little. "I know you're upset about me and Lily getting the certificate. But don't worry, we'll get divorced sooner or later. Just wait for me. I'll give you everything you want eventually, okay?" He didn't sound like he was negotiating, he was giving orders. But why should I listen to him? My smile disappeared completely as I lifted my gaze to him. "Ethan Song, do you really think I'm only worthy of a second-hand man?" I didn't understand why he assumed I would want someone who was already not clean. A strange, unreadable look flashed in Ethan's eyes. He sneered. "Then who do you think you're going to marry? Even though my marriage with Lily is a game, legally we're real spouses. You can't expect me to marry you too, right?" As he spoke, something seemed to occur to him, and his lips curved upward in a smug smile. "But don't worry, we'll get married sooner or later. I can't give you a proper, legitimate title right now, but I can give you a wedding first. You can plan it however you want. You can start arranging it now." When I heard that, I almost threw up on the spot. For a moment, I felt disoriented. I'd known him for over 2 decades. When exactly had he started rotting? Was it when Lily first appeared and pretended he wronged her, and he pinched her cheeks in frustration? Was it when she barged into the boys' dorm late at night because the water was shut off in her building and wanted to shower in his room, and he stood guard outside with a cold face? Or was it the times he was eating with me but kept taking photos to share his daily life with her? "Ethan Song, don't you think what you're saying is disgusting?" He stood in front of me with sunlight hitting his handsome face, every feature clearly visible. But at that moment, I no longer felt my usual heartbeat speeding up. All I felt was revulsion. After saying that, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I started gagging. Tears spilled uncontrollably from my eyes, dripping onto the back of my cold hand and sending ripples through my chest. Ethan's expression grew especially dark, and a terrifying thought flashed through his mind. "Emily, you're gagging because you're not feeling well, right?" His eyes widened, and his trembling voice held suppressed fury and disbelief. After all, in the 6 years we'd been together, we had never crossed the line. Back in college, he brought up living together twice, but I gently refused both times. Later, when Lily appeared, he never mentioned it again. "Well, of course," Lily chimed in with a mocking grin. "Didn't you say you've never even touched Emily before? If she's not feeling sick, what? She's pregnant or something? What are you even thinking about?" She nudged his chest with her elbow and shot me a provocative look. The word pregnant deeply stabbed into Ethan's eyes. His gaze suddenly chilled as he glared at me. "Emily Shen, if you dare mess around with another man, if you don't know how to respect yourself, I will never marry you in this lifetime." With those words dropped like a final verdict, he turned around angrily and walked away before I could say anything. Lily's face alternated between pale and dark when she saw this. She shot me a fierce glare, then quickly ran after him. I shrugged indifferently. Not long after, the person I was waiting for finally arrived. He looked like he had run the entire way. His usually neat short hair had a few loose strands falling over his broad forehead. Chase Lin was slightly out of breath, his voice full of apology. "I'm sorry, I'm late. There was traffic, and I ran the rest of the way. I didn't mean to keep you waiting." I shook my head and didn't mention anything that had happened earlier. "It's fine. We're not late. Let's go in." The process of getting the marriage certificate was much simpler than I had imagined. In less than 10 minutes, we held 2 freshly printed little red booklets in our hands. Chase's hand trembled slightly as he held his booklet, though he didn't seem to notice. "So are you moving into my place or should I move into yours?" "Huh." For a moment, I didn't react. "We're married now," he said seriously, without even a hint of joking. "Married couples are supposed to live together." I thought about it and realized he wasn't wrong. "I'll move into your place. My things are small anyway." "Great, then let's go pack right now. I'm free today." Before I could even refuse, he had already half-guided, half-pushed me into the car he had just parked. In the quiet, enclosed space, I didn't know what to say, so I pulled out my phone to cover the awkwardness. But the moment I opened my feed, I saw Lily Chin's post from 1 minute ago. "Girls, I moved in. Look at the new home my just-appointed husband prepared for me." The short video, just a few dozen seconds, showed a warm, cozy little home. And in the background was Ethan's song, the same Ethan who wouldn't even pick up a fallen broom at home. He had rolled up his sleeves and was seriously sweeping the floor behind her. In the comments, several of his friends popped up. "Since when did our Ethan become a domestic husband? Did he switch personalities or what?" "Nah, this is just a peacock showing off, trying to impress the person he likes." Then one comment stood out. "Did you guys block Emily Shen before posting this?" The moment I read that, the few people who had commented earlier immediately deleted their messages and rushed to message me privately. "Sis, don't take it to heart. Ethan and Lily are just playing house. When the game ends, they won't have anything to do with each other. I can vouch for them. Emily, we were just joking earlier. In our hearts, you're the only real wife Ethan has. We're all on your side." They sent messages one after another, but I didn't reply to any of them. Instead, I took a picture of my marriage certificate, posted it online, and captioned it, "Married. Men, please don't bother me. My husband will get angry." Right after I posted it, Chase, who had been staring at the marriage certificate the whole time, suddenly said, "My parents already know we got married. They want me to bring you home for dinner tonight. Would you be willing to come?" Since we were already married, meeting his family was inevitable, so I agreed. What I didn't expect was that when we arrived at his house that evening, Ethan Song and Lily Chin were there too. The moment Ethan saw me, his expression shifted again and again. "Do you even know what this place is? How dare you come here?" "Emily," Lily said with a wounded, almost accusatory tone, glaring at me, "our family is hosting a dinner tonight. Even if you dislike me, you shouldn't make trouble in my home like this." "You're misunderstanding," I said, but before I could finish, she continued, "Stop causing drama. Before they notice you, hurry up and leave." Ethan strode toward me, grabbed my arm and tried to drag me out. But just then, a cold, authoritative voice sounded from behind them. "Who gave you permission to touch her?" Before Ethan could react, Chase kicked him hard in the lower back. While Ethan bent over in pain, Chase wrapped his arm around my waist and pulled me into his embrace. Seeing this, Lily's eyes widened in disbelief. "Uncle, what are you doing? Didn't you bring Auntie home for dinner? Let go of that bitch. If Auntie sees this, how will you?" Before she could finish, Chase's icy gaze cut straight through her. "Lily Chin, you call your elders bitch every other sentence? Is this what your parents taught you? Elders?" Lily froze completely, staring at both of us in shock. "No way. Uncle, how could you be with her? She wanted to say I was Ethan's girlfriend, but she didn't dare. After all, the Lin family already knew Ethan was her newlywed husband." Ethan pushed through the pain and limped toward us, reaching out as if to take me back. "Let go of her," he snapped. But Chase tightened his arm around my waist, subtly avoiding Ethan's hand. His gaze was cold and distant as he looked down at Ethan. "And who do you think you are? Do I need your permission to touch my wife?" "What do you mean, your wife?" Ethan growled through clenched teeth. "She's my girlfriend." Then he turned to me, fury burning in his eyes. "Emily, tell him, aren't you my girlfriend?" Their gazes all landed on me. Ethan didn't look nervous at all, only certain. Certain that I would say yes. Lily pressed her lips tightly together, anxiety written all over her face. No matter how I answered, she knew it wouldn't be good for her. But right now, I could clearly feel Chase's chest against my back, tight, steady, but trembling ever so slightly from tension. I looked directly at Ethan and smiled. "Ethan Song, I'm married. Based on our family seniority now," I said lightly, "it looks like you'll have to call me Aunt." The pride on Ethan Song's face instantly froze. He stared at me in disbelief. "Emily, this is not the time for your nonsense. Do you even know what that sentence means?" Chase was the youngest in his entire family, the treasured baby boy of the Lin household. Nearing 30, yet never having had a girlfriend, he had worried his parents so much they'd lost sleep for years. When they heard he suddenly got married and would bring his wife home for dinner, the whole family practically lit fireworks. They decorated the entire house, prepared gifts, and arranged the highest level of welcome. Ethan and Lily were also summoned back, specifically so the elders could meet their long-awaited aunt. But no one expected the aunt Lily had excitedly imagined all afternoon would turn out to be me. "Marriage is sacred," I said calmly. "How could I possibly joke about something like that? Ethan, Lily, you two got married before I did. You should understand that better than anyone, right?" I blinked innocently. Ethan's chest tightened painfully with my words, as if someone was crushing his heart in their fist. "Emily, are you serious? Aren't you afraid I won't ever talk to you again? That I'll never marry you?" I laughed. "Ethan, I'm already married, and I'm your aunt. Do you think it's appropriate to say something like that to me?" I paused, then added, "Besides, I asked you before if you were okay with me becoming your aunt. You said you didn't care. I even told you that in the future we'd be one big loving family." When I said that, I pretended to be disappointed and shook my head. Ethan froze for a moment, suddenly remembering. I had asked him if he minded me becoming his aunt. But he had assumed I meant his actual uncle, who was already married with 2 kids. He thought I was joking, so he'd never taken me seriously. He opened his mouth, but any explanation he wanted to give sounded empty and useless before it even formed. "Lily Kin," Chase said coldly, "get your man under control." Lily flinched. Out of everyone in the Lin family, Chase was the one she feared most. He was notorious for siding with reason, not relatives. Even his mother wouldn't dare provoke him, let alone Lily. She swallowed hard, nodded stiffly, and walked over to tug Ethan's arm. "Ethan, let's go inside first." Ethan's eyes stayed locked on Chase, specifically on the arm around my waist, and in that moment he looked like he wanted to lunge over and tear us apart. But he quickly forced himself to calm down. His face darkened. "Emily, no matter how you mess around today, tomorrow you're going to get the divorce certificate. Otherwise, I'll take it as you giving up on our 6 years together. I'll never forgive you." With that, he let Lily pull him toward the house. I stared at him speechlessly. Where did he even get the confidence to say something like that? "Emily, will you listen to him?" Chase asked. His eyes held an emotion I couldn't decipher, completely different from the sharp dominance he'd shown toward Ethan and Lily moments earlier. I frowned. Why should I listen to him? At best, he's just my mom's best friend's son. An unspeakable ex. I'm not crazy. Why would I play that stupid, super realistic house game with them? The only reason I agreed to marry Chase in the first place was because among the men around me, he was the one with the best qualities. If I had to choose someone, I would choose someone better than Ethan. Someone who would make it clear that I am not only worthy of second-hand men. That I'm not doomed to someone who wants everything without giving anything. That night was filled with both joy and sorrow. The Lin family welcomed me warmly. The moment they saw me, everyone kept handing me gifts. Except for Ethan Song and Lily Chin, all the younger family members cheerfully greeted me as Aunt. When it was their turn, both of their faces flushed bright red, and neither of them managed to say a single word. Ethan even looked at the 2 of us with eyes full of burning anger. Someone noticed and asked, "Ethan, do you and Emily know each other?" I didn't deny it. I answered honestly, "Yes. He's my mom's best friend's son. We grew up together. We're close friends." "Close friends," Ethan repeated through clenched teeth like he was grinding his molars into dust. Terrified that people would ask further questions, Lily quickly clung to his arm and chimed in awkwardly. "Right, Aunt Emily and Ethan are just good friends. What a coincidence that Uncle ended up with her." As she spoke, she kept sneaking glances at Chase, deliberately bringing up the past. "Aunt Emily, didn't you used to say there was someone you absolutely had to be with? How did you end up with my uncle all of a sudden?" She was trying to hint to Chase that my motives for marrying him weren't pure. She thought I would panic, feel guilty, avoid eye contact. But I didn't. Instead, I looked straight at her and said, "Lily, don't you know the answer to that question even better than I do? Since you're the one who understands it most, why don't you help me explain?" Her smirk froze instantly. She hadn't expected me to throw the question back at her. She was stunned on the spot. I didn't let her off so easily. "I heard you love playing those super realistic house games. Got any new scripts lately? Which character do you think I'd fit into?" Back when Ethan used to play house with her, I once said I wanted to join. But Lily had refused immediately. Emily, when I'm in character, I don't recognize anyone, not even family. Our relationship isn't that close. If I accidentally hurt you, Ethan would be mad at me. But now, I was officially, legitimately, her aunt. A very special status. When Lily's mother heard what I said, her face lit up. Lily, hurry and give your aunt a role. We're family now, you can't exclude her. Let her join you. But Lily didn't like playing house for fun. She used it as an excuse to get close to Ethan. And now with her mother pushing her, she was stuck. Even worse, Chase refused to let her escape. Since that's the case, he said calmly, give me a script too. Write it out and show it to me first. Lily's scalp practically tightened in fear as she glared daggers at me. I blinked innocently and asked, what's wrong, Lily? You don't want to include us? Honey, maybe we should forget it. They're a married couple enjoying their little games. We shouldn't intrude. Lily's mom shot her a fierce look. Then she turned to me with a smile. Of course not. He's just not used to it yet. He used to call you senior, and now he has to call you aunt. Give him a couple of days to adjust. He'll be fine. I smiled and didn't say anything more. After dinner, Chase went to the garage to get the car while I waited at the door. But before he came back, Ethan showed up instead. Emily, are you seriously taking this game for real? I told you so many times, I'll divorce Lily. Why can't you just wait for me? Why do you have to use something like this to get back at me? What good does this do for you? Get back at you? For what? I asked. In the past, hearing his voice would make my heart race. Now, hearing his voice actually made me feel physically sick. I wanted to throw up. Ethan, if you like playing house, then go play. You have absolutely no right to demand anyone else play with you. And I'm serious. I have no intention of getting divorced. I turned to walk toward the garage to find Chase, but Ethan grabbed my arm again. Don't tell me you went to Chase with pure intentions. You knew he was Lily's uncle, and you still got together with him. You're obviously using him to get revenge on us. Why would I want to take revenge on you two? I couldn't help it. I laughed. Ethan, don't flatter yourself. I chose Chase because he deserves it. He's not like you, flirting with another woman under the pretense of protecting her innocence, doing things only boyfriends and girlfriends should be doing. You call me your girlfriend, so tell me, what have you ever done that a boyfriend should do? Ever since we were kids, he was used to me taking care of him. His parents were busy and rarely home, and he didn't know how to clean his room. Every weekend, I would go help him tidy up, wash his clothes, change his bedsheets. I was 15 then. I had never done any of those chores at home, yet somehow I learned everything for him. Other people's boyfriends take off their jackets when their girlfriends are cold. With him, I was the one taking off my jacket, and if I refused, he would throw a fit, saying I was heartless, saying I wasn't considerate. After Lily showed up, when she had painful periods, he made me personally wash her stained underwear. He always said, she's a young girl living in a dorm. We should help if we can. She can return the favor to you someday. But when I was doubled over with menstrual pain and asked him to buy painkillers, he looked annoyed. Why are you being so dramatic? Lily only hurts for a day and she's back to jumping around. Unlike you, still needing painkillers. Aren't you afraid of ruining your fertility? If you can't have kids, I won't want you. Hearing that back then made my blood boil. I went to the hospital alone for tests before I finally got my health stabilized. Looking back on everything, I realized it was because I treated him too well that he took everything for granted. That's why he truly believed I couldn't live without him. Ethan seemed to recall the past too. Guilt flickered in his eyes. I didn't know any better. It was my first relationship. I didn't have experience. Give me another chance. I'll treat you better. He claimed he lacked experience, yet somehow he knew Lily couldn't touch cold water during her period and needed extra care. He knew how to protect her innocence, laugh and play with her, spoil her in every possible way. Ethan, I said quietly, if I had known what kind of person you really were, if I had woken up sooner, I would never have been with you. Do you believe that? My mom always taught me. Before loving someone else, you have to learn to love yourself. But the funny thing is, when friends went through things like this, I could analyze everything clearly for them. When it came to myself, I was a complete fool, easily swayed by his coaxing. What do you mean? Ethan's voice trembled. Are you saying being with me was a mistake? Yes, I answered. I regret it. Ethan, I regret ever liking you. And the two of us are married people now. From now on, let's not see each other in private ever again. It would look bad. I finished coldly, refusing to look at him any longer as I walked straight toward the garage. But before I even reached it, I saw Chaselyn leaning against the car, a cigarette burning quietly between his fingers. The ash had already burned halfway down. It seemed he had been waiting there for a long time. I walked over, confused. Why are you standing out here? The car's already here. Why didn't you call me? I thought the two of you would have a lot to talk about. His voice was steady, clean, none of the hoarseness that came from smoking. Maybe he noticed the doubt in my eyes, because he added softly, I don't actually smoke. I just have a habit of lighting a cigarette and watching it burn out. There was only a faint, clean mint scent on him. He wasn't lying. It's cold. Get in. We got into the car, one after the other. The ride back was silent, neither of us speaking. It wasn't until we were almost home that my mom suddenly called. Emily, did you and Ethan fight? He came over the moment he arrived and ran straight into your room. He's rummaging through everything, looking for something. Hearing that made my anger surge all over again. I turned to Chase quickly. Can you take me to my parents' house? I need to deal with something. He didn't ask why, he simply turned the car around and drove. When I rushed home, I found Ethan sitting on the floor of my room, frantically flipping through a completely blank diary, muttering, how could it suddenly be gone? I clearly saw it last time. Rage shot up inside me. Even my parents never entered my room without permission, let alone rummaged through my things or violated my privacy. They always respected me, but Ethan, he never learned. Fuming, I stormed inside. Ethan looked up the moment he saw me and hurried toward me with the diary clutched in his hand. Emily, where's your diary? Did you change to a new one? Tell me. Before he could finish, I raised my hand and slapped him across the face with everything I had. Caught off guard, Ethan froze in place. I was shaking with anger as I spoke, every word sharp and cold. Ethan Song, when will you finally learn to respect me? Did I give you permission to enter my room? Did I say you could tear through my things? Ever since we were kids, you always did whatever you wanted. You never cared about how I felt. You said you were protecting Lily's innocence. You drank yourself into the ICU just to play some ridiculous game with her. When I tried to stop you, you told me to mind my own business, that she didn't feel well. When she had an accident, you made me wash her dirty underwear. When I wasn't feeling well, suddenly I was dramatic. She wants to play a marriage game, and you go register a marriage with her. Then you expect me to wait for your divorce? I glared at him, voice trembling with fury. Ethan, what do you think I am? Someone you can treat like trash? The moment I finished, a guilt I'd never seen before flashed across his eyes. But someone felt even more furious than I did. My mom had followed behind me, worried something would happen. She clearly heard everything I said. She stood in the doorway, her face turning dark with anger. Ethan Song, she snapped, so this is how you've been treating my daughter behind our backs? And to think I saw you as half a son. You deserve nothing. Get out. Don't you ever step foot in this house again. My mom's eyes were red with rage as she stormed in and started hitting him, furious and heartbroken. She had watched Ethan grow up. She once truly saw him as a second son. Ethan stumbled backward, unable to dodge. But when her hand was about to strike his face, he reflexively shoved her away. Mom, my heart jumped into my throat as I saw her falling backward. Just then, Chaselyn rushed in. Chase threw himself forward just in time and caught her. Both of them fell hard to the ground, but my mom was completely protected. Chase took all the impact and weight himself. I heard a muffled groan escape him. I hurried to pull my mom up and checked to make sure she wasn't hurt. Then I turned to Chase. Are you okay? My voice trembled, shaken by anger and fear. I think I hurt my back, he said quietly. I reached toward his back to check, and then noticed a nail on the floor. God knows when it had appeared there. The nail had pierced halfway into his flesh. When I saw the blood soaking into my palm, my whole body shook uncontrollably. Rage surged through me as I glared at Ethan Song, whose face had turned deathly pale. Through gritted teeth I said, Ethan Song, If anything happens to him, I will never forgive you." My mom, panicked and horrified, finally snapped out of it and quickly called 911. After she hung up, she looked at Ethan, standing there trembling, face ashen, and all she had left in her eyes were disappointment and fear. If Chase hadn't rushed over to shield her, she would have been the one impaled by that nail. She had never imagined that the boy she had watched grow up would ever push her like that. Bookmark back. "Auntie, I didn't mean to," Ethan stammered. "I didn't mean to push you." "That's enough. Leave," my mom said coldly. "Don't ever come back. From now on, we don't know each other." The nearest hospital was close to our home, so the ambulance arrived quickly. My mom insisted on coming along, refusing to leave Chase until his wound was treated and her emotions had finally settled a little. Then she turned to me with a worried expression. "Who is he? Why would he show up at our house so late at night?" There was no point hiding it anymore, so I told her everything. When she heard the part about us getting married on impulse, she erupted. But, remembering how Chase had protected her just moments ago, her anger softened slightly. She poked my forehead with frustration. "What am I going to do with you? You really went and learned this nonsense flash marriage trend from other people. What if his character turns out bad? What if he doesn't treat you well? What will you do then?" No one knew that back in high school, I had met Chase online. My grades weren't great at the time, and I wanted to follow Ethan to the same university. So I searched on a forum until I found a science genius to tutor me. At first, Chase rarely replied, but maybe he sensed how sincere I was, and eventually he started answering more frequently. That was how we began chatting. After Ethan and I got together, Chase and I gradually lost contact. Then half a year ago, Lily invited us to her birthday party. By coincidence, I recognized Chase from a photo of his back that he posted online. I revealed my identity to thank him for helping me cram for the college entrance exams. From then on, we would occasionally exchange a few messages and learned about each other's lives. A few days before Ethan and Lily registered their marriage, Chase gently warned me, "Ethan is emotionally immature. He's not right for you." At the time, I didn't understand why he said that. But after the dinner that night, he looked at me seriously and asked, "Emily, could you maybe consider me?" Remembering the sincere look on his face that day, I couldn't help but smile as I reassured my mom. "Don't worry, I'm not stupid. If he treats me badly, I'll walk away." When I returned to the hospital room, I saw Chase taking photos of his wound. "What are you doing?" I asked. He didn't answer me. Instead, he took out his phone, pulled me into the Lin family group chat, and the next second tagged everyone in it. Then he uploaded the photos of his injury. "Lily Chin," he wrote, "your man did this. He attacked my mother-in-law and stabbed me with a nail." I sucked in a breath as soon as I read it. I was about to ask him why he phrased it that way when the group exploded instantly. Lily's parents reacted first, furiously scolding both Lily and Ethan, threatening to force them to get a divorce immediately. They said they would never accept a son-in-law like that. The Lin family cared deeply about character and family values. Just from this incident alone, Ethan would never again be welcome in the Lin household. What I didn't expect was that only a few days later, news spread that Lily Chin and Ethan Song had officially filed for divorce. Later, I learned that Chase had recorded everything Ethan and I said at the Lin family's front gate. He clipped the important parts and showed them to the family. Only then did they realize Ethan and Lily had gotten married as part of a childish house game. Lily's parents refused to tolerate it and forced her to divorce him immediately. Afterwards, Ethan tried to come to my home to explain, but my parents refused to see him. His own parents also stopped defending him. Meanwhile, Chase, Lin, and I slowly began settling into the routine of an ordinary married couple.